all to the historic Sims House. My name is Ernie Fidanza. I'd first like to introduce myself and tell you a little bit about the history of the house and tell you how we got to the point that we're at. 9 years ago, I took over this property and wanted to save it from being destroyed, like a lot of our historic properties in our town have. In fact, over the years, we've managed to remove about 1,800 of these properties. This is the only, well, it was until recently we've had two. This is the third adaptive reuse that is a part of our new code that we created through the town of Jupiter. I'm happy to say that our district councilman at the time, Cam May, was instrumental in helping me cross the finish line. But not only that, he was helpful with me with getting our temporary CO to a final CO, and helpful for us to be able to open up to the public. If it wasn't for his influence and for him to go to bat for me and speak to our former town manager, we wouldn't even be where we're at right now.
Yay.
So a few things I want to tell you, facts about the property. The property withstood 5 of the biggest hurricanes ever recorded in history, and yet we still have over 90% of the glass still intact. The original area where the dining room is and the living room is all 100% original. We had no idea about the significance of this property. In fact, a former mayor at one time was trying to convince me to donate this property to be moved to SUNY Sands. Taxpayers were going to front that bill at one time to do that. We wanted to make sure that we were having an impact in trying to keep the properties that were part of our founding fathers and our settlers here, and to be able to represent them in place that they're in. A lot of our history that we still have left is along Center Street, which is what it was at one time County Rock Road. We have managed to, when we started preserving the property, we found a tin box in the attic. Inside that tin box contained hand-typed documents. One of the documents had a president's signature on there, President Taft. It defined this as one of the oldest subdivisions in the state. But not only that, the daughter of Eli and S.E. Sims was our town's first female postmaster, who married the barefoot mailman of Lake Worth, a best-selling book that's taught to all of our fourth graders throughout the state. So without us being able to have the effort that was made by this man as our district councilman to be able to push us over the finish line, I would have never been able to share my passion and what we've been able to do. Not only that, in 2016, with the help of this man, we created the Jupiter Historical Society. It's a 501c3, and our goal is to educate and inform the rest of our community about the 22 other homes that are privately owned and left in this town. We never want them to leave the private hands, but like anything else, if people pass on, siblings will want to conquer and divide and sell these properties. These properties will be sold in an instant, and they will be bulldozed and tear down. If properties can't be saved, that's a different story. That's not what we're talking about. What we have always talked about was smart progress in our town. We're able to protect property owners' rights, but we're also able to have smart progress. This is a smart progress project that we've had. We have some other projects that we're going to be coming up along the way that are smart projects that Cam's going to be able to tell you about. So what I'd like to do from this point is to be able to introduce Cam. A lot of you already know him, but Cameron May is a local. He's a family man. He's someone who cares about every single one of us here. He cares about your community. He cares about the small, uniquely Jupiter feel that we have here. He cares about what we're doing moving forward and for the future of our children. I'd like to introduce him. I'd like for you all to put your hands together. Cameron May.
He said way more about me than I ever probably would. So I know a lot of you guys here, and for those of you who haven't met me yet, I was born and raised. Well, go back. I was born in Hollywood. My parents made the smart decision in 1988 to move up here when I was about 8 months old. Since then, growing up here with my brother, and enjoying all the things Jupiter. Just, I love being here, and I knew that this is where I wanted to stay and raise my family. So back in, it's like 2014, 2015, started noticing some things about the town that I wasn't really happy about. We had Harborside going on, we had Love Street, that development project, and I really kind of said, what is going on with the town that we're developing all these amazing parcels and making them these large projects that just don't fit what the town of Jupiter really means. So that's why I got involved. That's when I started, really reaching out and figuring out how these things are getting approved. And at the time, I realized that there was one person that kind of was in favor of a lot of these things, and so I decided to put my name in the hat and run against him for town council. And I just, thankfully won. And then shortly after I was elected, and during the election too, I had met Ernie, and he had come to me with a lot of issues with this property that he was, butting his head against. And I said, that shouldn't be happening. You should be able to have property rights to do what you want with your property. And what he was doing was the adaptive reuse that he was talking about is to almost bring history to life in my mind. People need to be able to come and see these properties that tell the story of the original Jupiter. And so when I found out that there was some things in the code and there was things that were being held up for no reason whatsoever, it just made no sense. And so I went to the town manager at the time and I said, this guy needs to get his property open. People need to be able to come and see it. They need to be able to come and enjoy it. And so we pushed to get his TCO, temporary certificate of occupancy, so he can move towards getting the full CO. We got that done, and then obviously I like beer, so he wanted a beer and wine license. So I said, hey, let's get your beer and wine license. And they said, oh, we don't really want it. And I said, I don't care. I want it. I want him to have it. The residents want it. They want to be able to come and enjoy it. So we got that. I pushed for the liquor license. Hopefully we'll get that soon. So that way we can, enjoy. But honestly, it's a matter of having someone who sits in that council seat, and it's not even my council seat, it's your guys' council seat, that's going to go to bat for you and get things done when there's issues. I was crazy enough that on my mailers that I'm sending out, I have my personal cell phone number is being mailed out to thousands of people in the town of Jupiter. Yeah, so I told people, I said, listen, the best thing about this is if I do get elected, now you have my cell phone number. If you want to call me, if you got an issue, you can call me. And that's what I expect. I want people to be able to reach out to me. I want people to have someone who's approachable and that can help them with any issues, whether it's, an easement issue on their personal property or their business not being able to get open. That's really what I'm about, is being a true representative for the town of Jupiter. One of the things I'm pushing for this election is term limits. I'm a strong proponent of term limits. I don't think anyone should be sitting in office for a quarter of a century while things go by the wayside, and we've had more development, more traffic issues in the last 10, 15 years than we've ever seen. And someone who's forward thinking that can find solutions to fix those issues. Not saying anything bad about anyone who's been in office, but the goal of having a government position is to do your job and then go back home and serve your community and let someone else come in. You can mentor people to take that spot. You can, really help make a difference, but you go, you serve your time, and then you go home and be proud of what you did. So I think that's very important to have that in all levels of government. We're one of the only ones in South Florida that doesn't have term limits, and I feel like that's important. So another thing that I want to do is, as far as I'm a very fiscally responsible person, I don't think we should be spending your money without truly asking you if that's okay. So any expenditure over $10 million, I feel like that needs to go to a referendum vote. I feel like the voters should have a choice that if we're going to take your money, your tax dollars, and spend it on a large project, then you should have a choice of if we want to do it or not. So, we, with this whole fire department thing we started, whether you support it or not, we still took $11 million of your taxpayer dollars and transferred it out of reserves to start this fire department. If we had that much money sitting in reserves that we can just transfer it over to do something like that, then obviously we're collecting a little bit too much of your money, right? So we shouldn't, I mean, I know we need to have some money for a rainy day fund, but if we had that much extra money sitting in reserves that we could just do something like that, that means our millage rates have probably been a little too high for the past few years, and we shouldn't have been able to collect that much money. Ernie mentioned Sunny Sands. Everybody knows my stance on Sunny Sands. I think that it needs to be preserved in its entirety. I'm not going to go to the owner and try to take his land as it has been indicated that I'm trying to. I have sat down with the owner. I have worked with him to try to figure out how do we fund purchasing this property to preserve it in its entirety, all 10 acres. There is a path forward to do it. It takes someone who is forward thinking to be able to come up with that type of money, whether it's through state, federal, local grant funding. It's possible. It is 100% possible, and I don't want anyone to tell me it's not. And if you tell me it's not, I'm going to work that much harder to do it. And then obviously addressing our traffic concerns. We have a lot of traffic issues, especially in Indiantown Road near I-95. It's our biggest congestion area. We have some projects in place to try to fix it, but the Island Way South corridor needs to be put in. It needs to run south of Indiantown into the Commerce Park. That will eliminate 5,000 trips per day from the Central Boulevard and Indiantown Road intersection. Doing that project right there requires some right-of-way requirements, and working with the property owner to get those right-of-way to be able to have the road built. I have pushed since I've been on council to get the design to where it needs to be so that we can show them the amount of land that we need to make the road work, and also explain to them that if they want to even develop their property, they're going to have a roadway there in the first place. So letting them understand that. But like I said, born and raised here. As a firefighter, something we're always told is you always want to leave it better than you found it. My two boys, there's one. Perfect timing.
We planned that. There's the family.
I'm an emotional guy sometimes, but just trying to leave my hometown for them, for their friends, for your guys' kids, leave it a really good place for them to grow up and stay. So that's why I'm doing this. I don't need to do this. I want to do it. And if you find someone that wants to do something, they're going to work harder than anybody else. So thank you guys for coming out tonight. If you have any questions, I'm around. Come talk to me.
Thank you, everybody. So a few other things I want to say. So change is good. With you all here tonight, you're able to reach other community members and share with other community members. One thing I'm going to share with you all too before I round up, it is extremely important to me as a small business owner for me to have connections with other community small business owners. Everything that we do here, we try to keep local. Our fish is from Hibiscus Street Market. All our tree service that you see, the reason why our property looks so good is because of Only Trees, the family. It's a local small business that is thriving throughout our county and the state. These are the people that we want to deal with. This is what this man is all about. He's about touching the hearts of not only our residents, but touching the hearts of our small businesses. He's approachable. He's about change. He cares. And he made a difference in my life here. So thank you so much for being a part and enjoying history with me tonight. If you haven't had a chance, walk through the historic Sims house. If I missed some of the small businesses that are here tonight, I'm so sorry. I love you all. Thank you so much for being here again tonight.